Hey guys, Robbie. I got a special guest here to say something.
Greetings, this is Wonder Woman. You are watching Pros versus Noobs.
Actually, Wendy, that's supposed to be Pro teaches noobs. I know you like how to do, you like to do fighting and everything, but not everything's always.
And today, this is Azula from Avatar The Last Airbender. We're going to teach you how pros do things. They do it better than their brother. They're about to celebrate becoming an only child.
Yeah, I hear you say that a lot, Azula.
Yeah, noobs are just twerps and they all need to go to bed. They sure are. I can't stand a noob. You know who's a noob? Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I can't stand that guy. But he is my best friend, so whatever.
Oh, way to go, Mandy. So, yeah. What they said. Welcome to Pro Teaches Noobs. Hey guys, welcome to another lesson of Pro Teaches Noob, and Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Yep, today I have Steph and Dax with me to celebrate on this joyous occasion.
What's up?
And we are going with an interesting one. It kind of seems like you guys have become my zombie, this, Deceased and Marvel Zombies.
Right.
We aren't even the ones that should be the zombies.
Yeah, we like zombies, but
I don't. I'm not a zombie person. I don't.
You
like
do though. You
stuff.
end up liking them. So.
Yep. And the last Christmas had zombies.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We
Yeah,
did
but
the
this-
Marvel zombie one.
Yep, we did that with Deceased, and but this is kind of in the spirit of things like Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, Sense, Sensibility, and Sea Monsters, where you take these literary classics and add these horror stuff into it, but it's not to derail the original work, but to try and add a different metaphor to it that's still faithful to the original. As we'll see here.
Layers of fear.
I know, right? Though.
Yep.
Adding horror to Christmas.
Well, to be fair, Christmas Carol was actually considered a ghost story originally.
I love A Christmas Carol.
Also,
really
you know that Christmas Carol is actually what really helped make Christmas what it is.
Yes, and they've remade it so many times because it's so iconic. Like people think of it, but it's because A Christmas Carol, A Wonderful Life, things like that, just like really.
Well, yeah, but Christmas was not worldly celebrated before Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol did something to people and really made it something that important and special to be celebrated.
It works very well too right now with how culture is, especially with the whole CEO stuff. Christmas Carol really is super. It's always gonna be topical. Always.
Yep. But yeah, so let's get started, shall we? On Stav 1, Marley's Hungry Death. Death had lost its grip to begin with. There was no more denying that. It seemed to have vanished into the night, or danced away with some stealthy nymph and forgotten its duties. I cannot question death any more than I could a doornail, which seemed to me the only thing described as dead. Whatever the reason, death had, for lack of a better explanation, left this world. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing meaningful can come of the story I am going to relate. It was a cold, biting winter. The city clocks had just chimed but 3, yet it was already quite dark indoors and out. The fog came pouring in at every crack and keyhole, so dense that although someone could be standing opposite you, they would appear as a mere phantom. One might have thought nature was brewing something sinister on a large scale. Such a person would have been correct. Those that witnessed it firsthand were forever changed. Their ears would never forget the sounds of the screams, nor could their eyes see anything but the horror that lay before them ever again. That is, assuming, of course, that they would ever resemble anything human after the experience. Once the places of union, workhouse, prisons, and poorhouses, those halls were now home to death's lost children, those left behind in life, those who could not die, yet whose ranks grew with but a scratch, or more likely, a bite. For these poor souls, if indeed they were still in possession of such a thing, were overwhelmed in the absence of death, as they had been in life. They were beset with incurable want, and their stomachs were always empty, no matter how much they tried to fill themselves. This is what earned such outcasts of society the name of having the hungry death. I believe, Mr. Sans, that it is safe to assume we are indeed no longer secure within these walls. Mr. and Jeffers, I do not believe that even the halls themselves are safe. I fear what may have become of our fellows in other institutes if the travesties happening within our own is anything by which to measure. You will forgive me if I fear for our own above all else at the moment. A fair assessment. And the coffers are empty, and the cupboards run dry. Indeed, there is nothing more we can offer, and so they turn on the living. We must put our trust in only one place now, the proprietors, as our records indicate, one of the first victims to contract this hungry death fell into our halls 7 years ago this very day, leaving one man who could be in possession of enough wealth and supplies to keep this from growing further. And if he declines us, what then? We must pray that the spirit of Christmas may move him, which leads us back to my question, given we already know what his answer will be. If we are turned away by Ebenezer Scrooge, if these masses continue to swell and overrun, then there will be no living creature left to see Christmas Day. How is this for the start?
I like it.
I like it. Yeah.
I like that panel right there. I think that's my favorite.
What kind of man could this Scrooge be, you may question, and was good right? The answer is more complex in the telling, for Scrooge was unlike any man to walk these streets, if he were even a man at all. Hard and sharp as flint, yet no fire had ever sprung from him, nor had a kind word or an act of generosity. That is to say, not as long as anyone who had known the man in these parts had seen. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheeks, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shroudly in his grating voice. He carried his own cold temperature about with him. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm him, no wintry weather chill him. It was as if he and nature had a clear and distinct order to pay the other no heed. And with Scrooge laying as mankind's last hope, humanity might as well have extinguished its final fires this very Christmas Eve. Like, Merry Christmas, Uncle! Bah! Humbug! Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure. I'm sure I do, nephew. Every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holy through his heart. For what reason should you, among all others, be so dismissal? In these times, you are swimming with all things that can be counted on as material wealth. And I suppose you should find yourself rich enough in spirit and happiness to be content with that, all accounting to the Christmas cheer. But of course, dear uncle, it is the only time I know of in the long calendar of the year where men and women seem to open their hearts freely and think of people below them as fellow passengers to the grave, equal on the journey. Hear, hear! I would encourage any who seek to spread such nonsense to speed along their journey and leave me in peace. Come dine with us on the morrow, Uncle. I hate to think that on Christmas, of all days, you would continue to take your supper alone. You throw your doors open to all still, Master Fred. Even with the rumors that the streets are no longer safe, the spirit of the season should be spread far and wide, with hearts and doors open to all. The very sound of that gives me the notion to lock my doors until such drivel is wiped from every mouth for all time. My mother would have wanted you there. It is for her as much as my own desire to see you happy that I shall continue to invite you. and it is because of her I shall never attend. You know her name is never to be uttered in my presence. I never knew her, dying as she did, bringing me into this world. You were the closest thing to her I shall ever know. Talk of Christmases and laughter all you wish, nephew Fred. Of your mother, make no mistake. In me you will find nothing that resembled her. And that is the last I will speak on the matter. I am sorry, with all my heart, to find you so resolute for such darkness to fall over you. Good afternoon. I have made this trial in homage to your sister, my mother. May your name never be kept from crossing my lips. I shall keep my Christmas humor to the last. So too shall my offer stand, Uncle. And safe and travel to you, sir. And a Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Cratchit. Good afternoon. And may this be the last time those words must be spoken this day, or else you shall find yourself seeking new employment, Cratchit. Mr. Scrooge, pardon our rather disheveled entrance on this Christmas Eve, but we are very much in need of your aid. Scrooge is gone. Can you not read the sign? This is Scrooge and Marley's. With Mr. Scrooge gone, I believe your business here is undone. Good afternoon. Oh, that should be Marley. I think.
What is it?
That's weird phrasing.
Yeah.
That is a weird. What
does it say? Marley? Yeah, it says Marley's.
Scrooge is gone. Can you not read the sign? And Mr. Scrooge, for that is your name, regardless of the sign. Oh no, so that's right. Regardless of the sign, we have come today because there are things afoot. I'd best not say this close to dusk, for risk of frightening the last rays of the sun away. Fear? Is that what tinges your voice? At last, someone without the ridiculous high-pitched strain tidings of good cheer to everyone he sees. And there is much fear in the streets, this day, and with good cause. The voice of the poor and forgotten are rising. Soon they will wash through this town, and no one will be safe. Are not the workhouse and prison still in operation? No, sir, they are not. We have run through every option, and it is no longer within our means to help them. I am quite sorry, sir, but nothing could prepare us for this. The poorhouses, prisons, your taxes, indeed, every available farthing has been consumed, all by the hungry deaths. Our walls are not enough to contain them. They need sustenance, and we need to help to keep them at bay. But none will set foot there now. They would rather hide or die by their own hand. If they would rather die, then they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population. These are the surplus population, Mr. Scrooge, the very people you have continued to turn your back on. They've been growing in ranks for these past 7 years, hurried along by your former partner. Speak not of Jacob Marley. He was a far greater man than you two quivering beggars before me. He has been dead these 7 years, and now you choose to play up his memory? Where were you when he died? It was I who signed his witness of death, and I alone who stood by his grave as he was committed to the ground. You have no right to invoke his name in your cause. If that is your answer, then so be it. But even you cannot lie about the true fate of Jacob Marley. I suppose we gave it our best efforts. So shall this counting house be marked. And now we go, I suppose, doomed to become a part of the surplus population, sentenced to this man by another man's greed. See what I mean? The changes, but yet still faithful.
Yeah, it is pretty much the exact same, just with a few things added in.
So Marley's gonna come back.
Right.
Oh, yep.
Definitely.
I need a guess, Cratchit. You would like to profit from this day by taking your leave before it is time? Well, please, sir, I would stay to work as late as you need me. However, my youngest, Tiny Tim, is still most likely out playing in the street. If what they're saying is true, I fear for him. I would be more fearful as a child with such neglected parents. Be here all the earlier the next day. I like that change. He's not that heartless.
Right.
He's not that heartless. Like, that's a different reason than simply tomorrow's Christmas. If it's that bad, I need to go find my son. And so it's like, okay, go get him, but be here earlier the next day.
Yeah.
I thought that's what they...
Yeah, it's like, it's a good reminder that he's not the worst. Like there is an ember of good in him.
Right.
It's just so beaten down and everything. It's like barely an ember.
Yeah, it's just
But
barely
Scrooge
there.
had to have a severe epiphany.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, of
as
course.
Marley comes and tells him, Scrooge, the way you have been your whole life, you're terrible. You need
Exactly.
to not be that way. So
Yes, Mr. Scrooge, and thank you for your kindness. The talk of the dead would have stirred a sense of loneliness or regret in any other soul. The same could be said for Scrooge if he had possessed a soul. Instead, he stared for some time at Marley's desk, his only friend, his partner, and the only person to share his disdain for his fellow man, especially in this season, now gone. On stepping outside, even Scrooge could not ignore the fact that there should be carriages and carolers. The streets were empty. The fog that had been rolling in was growing thicker, extinguishing the gas lamps, leaving the entire section of the street in a misty darkness. The buildings and looking as though they were ghosts of their former selves. Scrooge entered his usual melancholy tavern to take his usual melancholy meal and read all the daily newspaper. Have I missed some new statute that proclaims even taverns must close in observance of this ridiculous season? Surely you have heard, Mr. Scrooge. The night isn't safe. There's rumblings of terrors roaming the street. You best get home. Only the dead will be caught outside this Christmas Eve. And so Scrooge was left alone, a hunger growing in his stomach. So intent was he that Christmas Eve had ruined his rigid daily life, he failed to notice that the fog that enveloped the street parted before him as he walked. It was as though even nature feared to touch Ebenezer Scrooge. The house in which Scrooge lived was befitting of his own nature. Let it be known that on this night, when there should have been carolers and shops finishing up with nearly forgotten gifts, there was not a soul to be seen, which is why it was so peculiar to Scrooge that he heard his name carried on the wind. Scrooge. I needn't remind you that Scrooge held no love for Christmas in what remained of his heart, but even he couldn't help but notice some oddity. Where there should have been bright holly and evergreen ivy twisted into wreaths and hung on doors, there were boards nailed to every entrance. Who could have taken these fools as being smart for once? Well, to guard your homes from the hooligans going door to door singing without invitation. The flames on the lamps lining this row had all but flickered. He paid this no mind, for darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked it. Or so he thought. Marley? Humbug! Good God! Why should he have seen such a face on the door? Our door knocker was a mystery to Scrooge. Save for the mention of his partner's name this afternoon, he had not given Jacob Marley a single thought in 7 years. Toom! 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 Clink, 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 clink. Foolish nonsense, talking of the dead swirling the street. No place for it here in these walls. Bah! Humbug! You may talk vaguely about driving a coach and six up a good and odd flight of stairs, but to witness such a very thing coming down them is another matter entirely. That is a brief thing that is mentioned where he thinks he sees a carriage, but it's so minor, most people don't bring it up.
Yeah.
If you have ever read the original Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that, though.
Yeah, again, it's barely mentioned, but that's why it's rarely ever brought up.
They've shown it in a couple of the Christmas carols, like coming down the stairs, and they don't put a lot of emphasis on it, but I remember that scene in something.
Yep, something even Scrooge could not quite call a humbug, though the hearse was perhaps but a vision from some undigested bit of meat. There was something about the decayed mare leading the charge that chilled Scrooge, a chill that emanated from a childhood wound that now felt as raw as the day he had come by it. Ooh! Scrooge entered his bedchamber, double-locked himself in, though it was not his custom. Feeling quite safely secured, Scrooge went about his nightly routine, but then he discovered something was indeed out of place. Not the sing, mind you, but the sound, ding, 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 that of a tiny bell chiming as though it walked up the stairs on its own. Ting, ting, clank! The bell was suddenly accompanied by a deep clanking noise. as if some person were dragging a heavy chain. As the bell and chain drew closer, Scrooge meant to arm himself with an iron poker from the fireside. The sight of his mantle changing stopped him. Ting clank! No, it's a humbug still. I won't believe it. As the color dropped from Scrooge's face, the dying fire leapt up as though it cried, I know him, Marley's ghost.
That is sick, though.
How now? What do you want from me? Who are you to come in through my door in such a manner, wearing a distorted mockery of a face I once knew? Ask me who I was. And who were you then? In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley. And in death, there is no death. And merciful, dreadful creature, why do you trouble me? You who still walk the earth with a mere sliver of life in him. Do you believe in me or not? I do. I must. But why do such as you I have witnessed tonight come to me? It is required of every man to walk abroad, living among his fellow men. And if the spirit goes not forth, living in life, it is condemned to do so without the comfort of the grave, and doomed to wander and to spread among those without basic solace and needs. Tell me why? Because of you, Ebenezer Scrooge. Me? How could I have cursed anyone, much less my dear friend, to such a fate? I have kept well away from others and their lives, while you were a good man of business, Jacob. Mankind should have been my business. Now it is my feast. Speak comfort to me, old Jacob Marley. Surely there is some help in finding your eternal rest. I cannot. Oops, things okay?
Yeah, it was the tea kettle.
I cannot rest I cannot. Rest was once for other men who lived until they were tired. I never left the counting house. Spending my days there with you and my wealth on no one. It was you and I that spread this to the abodes of the poor, disease rather than comfort. And that can change with a simple stroke of a pen. If it is the poor that need money, then those portly men who came around earlier shall have their coffers filled by morn. You have forgotten that promise as soon as it has left your lips. You are as you have always been. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet one final chance to escape my fate, to help those, including myself, loosen these shackles and end the ceaseless hunger before it devours everyone. You are always a good friend to me. Thank ye. You will be haunted by three spirits. I think I'd rather not. Expect the first when the bell tolls wine. Can I just take them all at once and have it over, Jacob? I always love that line.
Right.
All at once to get it over with.
Just get it done with.
I always love that line. That line is always it. Look to me with no more. Look to see me no more. You must set foot on your own journey to discover your role, if there is to be rest eternal restored. Why me? What could I have ever done to set in motion the things you have told me this night? Look that for mankind's sake, you remember that and what has passed between us. Lest you forget, I offer you this. Ting, ting. Please, Jacob, I have seen plenty already. Why must you show my eyes things that and they know I cannot bear to see? The fog is as deep as it ever was, yet now it stirs as though it were a living thing. Yet it is death. God help us, everyone. Again, just
Crazy.
wow.
All right.
So
I do
what
like
was,
this
like,
a lot, though.
Marley, like, I don't know. I'm hypothesizing with how the story's gonna turn out. I'm such a fan of Christmas Carol, so I'm like, oh, so is this gonna happen? This is probably the way it's gonna happen. It's probably gonna be this.
Yep, wait till you see. Ebenezer Scrooge was not dead, though he gazed around the room with his ferret eyes, trying to pierce the darkness. The only truth he could hold on to was that he was not dead. An idea he never imagined to be so preposterous. Given the night's events, he did have reason to hesitate at the window, which last showed him a ghastly scene. Certainly not the sight that greeted him this moment. Ha! A humbug indeed. As he made his way back to his bed to seek comfort in his sheet, he found only the charm in the chiming of the quarter hours to mark the passing of his thoughts. Dong, dong. The more he sought, the more perplexed he was, and the more he endeavored not to think, the more he thought. Dong! Had he seen the undying visage of his former partner, old Jacob Marley, or had it all been a dream? A bird? A bird, and nothing else. Scrooge had been forewarned of 3 spirits coming this night, and as all he was certain he not unlatched the window, the appearance of the bird never occurred to the man to be a herald of any kind. For not the first time, but possibly the last, Scrooge was humbled and quite terrified to find he was wrong.
That's a sick
wow.
photo,
I like
the
that.
artwork is really good.
They got some
so
really
far.
good. Like I think the art is by far the best of this.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a strange figure, alive yet not, and yet not so alive, as like a corpse. It lived countless lifetimes in a mere moment before Scrooge's very eyes, as though neither death nor life wanted to claim it. And still it drew closer to Scrooge. It settled upon a form as it reached as close to Scrooge as I am now to you. I am standing in the dark, past the corner of your eyes. Spirit, are you what was foretold to be? I am the ghost of Christmas past. Long past? No, your past. While I am honored that such a spirit would choose to visit me on this eve, I believe it would be more benefit my welfare to have a solid night's sleep. Take heed, Ebenezer Scrooge, for I am here for your reclamation. Now rise, walk with me. I am quite certain the night air is far too cold for pedestrian purposes. Men such as myself are more accustomed to bed at this hour than walking about in one's nightcap, especially considering, if you will, I am of the suspicion that my mind is slightly fevered at this moment. Bear but a touch of my hand, and all that you have set in motion shall be revealed. You recollect this past? Though he had the nose, the eyes, and the hearing of an old man, he was now conscious of 1,000 odors floating in the air, each one connected with 1,000 thoughts and hopes and joy long forgotten. Remember it! I could walk these streets blindfolded. Why, there's old Mr. Craig and his pies, and young Charlie. Strange that he hasn't grown an inch in all these years. These are but shadows of things that have been. I was a boy here. Good heavens, over there, and this hill. Is it still there? As it always has been, though you have forgotten it for so many years. Tell me, Ebenezer Scrooge, why is it you run to this place? 'Tis nothing, spirit, merely an abandoned schoolhouse. The boys long gone for the Christmas holiday. Look upon the scene closer. The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, still remains, yet not alone. Orson, please, boy, you mustn't fight it. If the farman finds you in this state, he will put you down. What is it that made a young boy struggle so to save another life? Is it the care you once felt for everything around you that causes you to avert your gaze now? Or can you not bear to witness what this moment begat? Orson, what possessed you? You felt fear that day in the first time in your young life. You truly feared. What was it? A disease? A demon? What crossed your mind when you first looked upon that rune? A rabid horse bite, nothing more. And still today you continue your lie. The secret you keep locked tightly away. The fear you never thought would spread if you held it close to your heart and froze it. The words, the very warning and hint of things to come, however, fell on deaf ears. The moment of realization cracked like a mirror before the reflection could fully form, broken by a sound that brought forth distinctly different emotions from both Scrooge and his younger self. A voice that floated on the wind, carrying a song for the elder and a fright for the younger. Dear brother, Fran, my little fan, look, spirit. I've come to bring you home, brother. Home at last. forever and ever. Father is so much kinder than he used to be. And Christmas, we're to be together all the Christmases, every Christmas long. Home, come, brother, show me what you are hiding, which keeps you from greeting me with a hug. Please, little fan, it is nothing. Let us leave this place and go home, as you said. And, and the spirit, if ever your intent to bring me on this journey was to alter any moment, let it be this. Past is the past. I can only show you what you have long forced yourself to forget. Be it pain or joy, these events must go unchanged. And nothing. However, did you get such a wound? Let me clean it for you, you Ebenezer! You protected her as best you could, as any brother would, his younger sister. In doing so, you brought her into your lie, your fear. Always a delicate creature who seemed to fend off a creeping darkness with a single light in her. But she had a large heart. So she had. And I'll never forget and say otherwise. God forbid it. She died a woman in birthing a child with golden locks. Some say the light which kept her living passed on to the boy. That was him, his mother's living light shone always. Your nephew Fred. Enough! I care not to relive such moments, thank you. How can a man second live a moment he never lived firstly? You had long left your family for another life, meaning he wasn't there.
Okay.
If any contemporary of Scrooge could see him now, they would have rubbed their eyes to look again. So bright was the old man's smile at the sight before him. Such a feast and merriment the world had never seen, at least not in Scrooge's experience. At the center, beating Christmas cheer as a heart does blood to the entire body to warm it. Was Scrooge's old master and his wife, a glowing beaming from them, as if the holiday self began with the pair, spreading out to the world. Why, it's all Fezziwig! Bless his heart! It's Fezziwig, alive again! So moved by the striking up of Sir Roger and cavalry from the artful dog of a fiddler, Scrooge couldn't help but fall in line, dancing as though his feet had forgotten they ever had a notion to merely walk. While he's dancing, though, I am beginning to tire of these silly folks, Dick. And Dick Wilkins, bless me. Yes, my old friend. A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude. The affair was spent, but a few pounds of your immortal money, 3, 4 perhaps. The cost of such an affair, year after year, yet Fezziwigs never gives pause to debate how and hosting. Like, why should he? Look around, and 'tisn't the cost, but the feeling it gives that matters. And what of the feeling it gives the coster to be out such money with no return from those who take advantage of the meager wealth? Scratch him. Ow! Ebenezer, you must keep yourself more kept. Dick, my apologies. I didn't mean to become so hated in my argument. Who? What keeps my young apprentices in a corner, conspiring, no doubt, on which pie to fill your bellies? Come, dance. It will make your hunger enough, so you needn't choose, lads. I shall join you momentarily, sir. It wasn't long after that Dick Wilkins left the counting house, claiming fatigue. Often I wonder what became of him. Strange that I never saw him again. See him once more, and you shall, then, to lay to rest the question that has lain dust-riddled in the corner of your mind. Another Christmas. The Fezziwigs! But I remember not this. You were left to find your own fortune, and in my wake? Surely this must be after the celebration, as there are sleeping louts about. No, Ebenezer, not sleeping at all. Yet in your wake is a truth you unknowingly spoke. Your young partner had not grown fatigued, but by your very hand and your fear and your secret had grown hungry. And his hunger spread. Please, we have no more to give you. All my wealth is spent and my cupboard is bare. Had we any more, gladly we would give. Grant us mercy. Hey, Spirit, grant them and myself mercy. Spare me such visions. Close your eyes, as you have for so long, yet nothing changes. Not even this next Christmas. This spirit must of all moments you show me this. Belle, yes, the woman you swore to cherish for all time. Yet when the day came, why did you break the oath you were willing to take? Here you remember? So in this version, they did marry.
Okay.
Look how she cried this day. You fool! Look up! Look at what you have! I know what you have asked of me. Yet it matters little to you. Very little. Another idol has displaced me. A golden one. And if it can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have all my days, I have no just cause to grieve. This is the cost of the world, then. The world and which brings down hardest on the poor. You would have me condemn the pursuit of wealth and face such a world? You fear the world too much. One by one, I have seen your aspirations change, fall off until a singular passion, gain, consumes you. The one I loved would know these answers. What then? I am not changed towards you. Am I? Am I? You are another man now. Oh, we were younger, poorer, and nonetheless happier for it when we made our love pact. That has changed. I release you from it with a full heart for the love of him you once were. Have I sought release, Belle? Free me as I have you. And may you be happy in the life you have chosen. Spirit, show me no more. Why do you delight to torture me? It is not I who torture you. Your time grows short. One shadow and one Christmas more you must see. As Scrooge and the spirit appear in this promised final shadow, the man was overcome with the imperfectly tumultuous sound that filled these halls. There must have been more doors than Scrooge could count, for that would mean looking upon them. And the wailing was not 40 prisoners moaning like one, but every man, woman, and child behind those locked doors, each screamed with the strength of 40. Spirit, I beg you once more. I have seen these terrible conditions and understand that I must have turned my back on them as well. But beyond that, what could one man have had? And I know not what that man is, and who that man is, nor do I care about his fate if he be mad enough to walk these halls. It is not his fate that must concern you, my dearest. 'Tis Christmas. I came as I promised. It is your Edmund Belle. Belle? No, not my Belle. She went on to marry and raise a family, just as she wanted. Tell me this is so, Spirit. Don't make me look. I saw an old friend of yours this afternoon. I can only imagine he was once your friend, as you've spoken of him often, even before we married. Scrooge. Belle, no, please, what is this unholy trick, Spirit? Surely this is not a mistake, a divergence where nature has lost all sense of control. This is no trick, Ebenezer Scrooge, nor is this a mistake of nature. It is nature made by your very hand. No, no more! Remove me! I demand you, Spirit, you return me, Spirit, and haunt me no longer. I'll not see these horrid visions you have shown me any longer. Lies, for all I know. No more of your trickery. Lies and trickery, these are not visions of the true path you have seen. And you now look upon my true face. It's Belle. No, it cannot be. My Belle will never become such a creature. Be gone from my sight, imposter! Ting! With one of Marley's foretold visions gone, Scrooge could only wonder and fear what possibly could follow. He was right to be afraid. Again, Jess, you're starting to get the idea, aren't you, of what the zombie cause is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but there's more to it than that.
I mean, it's quintessential. You know, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it because it could be a few things. I'm just seeing.
I'll explain it by the end. I'll explain it once we get to the end
of like the Black Plague
are yet to come.
Exactly. Shit. Greed and the bite from the horse.
And he's also, every time he touches somebody,
or scratches them at least.
Scratches, yeah, but he just touched Belle.
Like he's just a zombie.
And then her whole arm was yellow.
Yep, but there was scratch marks still on it, so I guess he just doesn't keep his nails kept.
Yeah, dirty nails.
Ebenezer Scrooge needed no bells tolled to expect another midnight visitor. Jacob Marley, having correctly dispatched one other worldly messenger, would surely have kept his word on the arrival of the impending spirit. Scrooge meant to be ready, not wishing to be taken by surprise nor cry out as he had the previous specter's appearance. Without much difficulty, I don't mind calling on you to believe that he was ready for a good broad field of strange appearances, and then nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros as would have astonished him much. Now, being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing, and nothing had been his silent companion for some time now. When that void was filled with a light and a voice, Scrooge nearly forgot it would come from a being not like you and I. Ebenezer Scrooge, come out and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You have never seen the likes of me before. No, Spirit, never have I seen anything the likes of this. Never have you walked forth with my elder brothers. My family, vast as it is, for I am the youngest, is completely unknown to you. To my recollection, not a one. You have many brothers, more than 1,800. A tremendous family to provide for. I always loved that. That I didn't mean the brothers mean every previous Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yet there is always room at the feast for all, even yourself. So much for one family. Mankind is the recipient. I, like my brothers before me, last but a day. Year after year it was such, until you, Ebenezer Scrooge. Now I am quite possibly the last of my kind to walk this earth, save one brother yet to come. Spirit, I am sure there is meaning to be held in your words, as there was in your predecessor. Though I care not for the vision, there are lessons I am to learn tonight. You learn quickly. Good. Touch my robe, and let us trade this feast for another. Gone were the punch, poultry, turkey, pudding, sausage, holly, and mistletoe in an instant as the surroundings passed away. Scenes of jovial snow shoveling, something which Scrooge never understood there to be any joy in, faded out with fires and feasts. They seemed to float through Scrooge and his guide rather than the other way around, as it should have been. As the sky grew darker, the streets began to meld with the void that had become the night. Spirit, you have shown me visions of Christmas present, as is your name. Nay, Scrooge, I have shown what world I should have been born into. Gone were candles and girls in Christmas bonnets. No smoke rose from fireplaces. No presents at their hearts. Absent were sounds of chestnuts popping and the scent of cinnamon and nutmeg. All this would have brought a bemused smile to Scrooge's lips. But looking upon his guide's face, he knew to keep sober his appearance. Instead, this is what my legacy is to be in part, if not all, part to you. No foolish prattling, no foolish and no incessant singing, and not a single Merry Christmas on a person's lip. I convinced my fellow man that Christmas is a humbug, then surely you must be showing me my proudest moment. Will your eyes never see beyond that crooked nose? You are a foolish man, and one for whom I should feel pity. But you do not deserve pity. You deserve to see the truth. Witness what now falls from the lips of man. Dong, dong. Father, we beg mercy. My children, that I could let you in. The steeple sounds not to beckon the flock, but to warn them we are filled. There is no safe place for refuge this night. But this is no Christmas, nor is this a moment of pride. Mother, quiet, Justin. Ding, ding, ding. This is horror, and this, Ebenezer Scrooge, is no humbug. Tim, and that voice, you should know it. I should say I know it, and should say I know it as well as any other. That voice prattles around my shop looking for days off and other ways to bleed me dry of my money. Now it appears blood, and now it is another's blood he fears for. Tidy Tim, where are you, my son? What sort of dwelling is this then? It is the most important, a poor one. Why a poor one most? Because they need it most. Like what has ever got your precious father then and Tiny Tim? 'Tis hardly Christmas after committing your sister Martha months last to the hospital. Poor Martha, poor hungry Martha. Something's coming, mother. Quick, children, remain still at the grave and hope it is your father. And dear children. Bob, God bless me. What and have you, Tiny Tim? God bless us, everyone. And Belinda, clear this so Peter and your father can lay him out. Children, get the cleanest rags you can find. How did you find him? He was near the church. That's where I found his crutch. I heard him then, his little voice singing. He was trying to lull these creatures with a choir song. I was too long in asking for Mr. Scrooge for my leave. That odious, stinking, hard, unfeeling man, Mr. Scrooge. 'Tis his fault then. No, dear, we mustn't speak that way about him. He puts the food on our table. The founder of the feast he is indeed. Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live. I see a vacant house, save one lone figure at the table, broken as the crutch that lies before him. It is not Tiny Tim, but his father, your assistant. Bob Cratchit will die, and Tiny Tim can never die. But why show concern for one who you never met when there are hundreds increasing the ranks of the surplus population? Look how wizard he's becoming. Without another word of warning from the ghost, the nightly travelers found themselves in many places, yet all at once. From bleak and desert moors, where monstrous masses of stones lay the grave markers of giants, high atop nestled in the sea watchmen, who tried with their might to keep the fire lit, and tossed on the decks of the ships that weighed the stormy sea, the huts that sat on the brim of the deep, dark coal mines below. In all these places and more, the spirit of Christmas present found a light which once shone so brightly within him, pouring out to share in his mirth, was now waning, save for one place.
So, I just want to say something. I'm sorry. That panel back there,
yeah,
would make the most, like if you just change the bottom to, that could be a Christmas Carol board game.
All right, though.
Yeah.
Like that's such. I love that
like
panel. Like I could see that
Yep.
as a board game.
Mm-hmm. Spirit, we have returned, but I know not this house. Who are these fools that so bravely draw attention, expose themselves to this? Should not they be boarded safely inside like the rest? Help! A fool indeed, as you have called him more than once this day. But tell me this, who is the more foolish, the man who would open his door to all, or the uncle who knows not his own nephew's home? It is a fair, even-handed, noble adjustment of things that while there is infection and disease and sorrow, there is nothing in the world so irresistibly contagious as and healing as laughter and good humor. Ho! Welcome, friends. Inside, you'll find all you need, and a Merry Christmas to you and to you. If you should happen by any unlikely chance to know a man more blessed in a laugh than Scrooge's nephew, all I can say is, I should like to know him too. Fred! Perhaps his offer of warmth and merriment on this night was extended to all who needed such nurturing in their souls. But how, Spirit? If I am to witness these events and have hope of changing them, I must understand the exact means by which this change can occur. The light of your sister is in him, and it must be found in you. My sister's name is not to be mentioned, Spirit, as I told the other which came before you. She was the most precious of all, and ne'er shall there be another like her. Then all are doomed. Spirit, if you grow ill, or your kind's life so short, my life on this globe ends tonight. My brother who's coming, I can feel even now will be the last of our kind, lest you look upon me and heed those words as you have those spirits before me. I am your humble servant this night, but there is only one so much mine earthly eyes can bear. Look here, Ebenezer Scrooge. They are they your spirits? They are man. The boy is ignorant and the girl is want. Beware them both. Have they no refuge or resources? Are there no prisons, no workhouses? I knew not what I said then, spirits. Forgive me and free these poor creatures. They are man's to free, to comfort. They are the surplus population searching for that which few possess, and those that do can't seem to part. And if man you truly be in heart, forebearer that wicked can't until you have discovered what the surplus is and where it is. Must this burden fall solely on mine shoulders? Ebenezer Scrooge, this began with you, and on your shoulders it must end. And you will decide if all men shall live and all men shall die, as I die now.
Jeez.
Scrooge knew he would not awaken from this, safe in the comfort of his soft bed sheets. All Jacob Marley's predictions demanded one final spirit. Scrooge, now quite versed in the comings and goings of spirits, understood this to be a simple fact. Here was not a thing in which to seek comfort.
The freaking art is so good, though.
It is. Yep, David Baldian is a great artist.
Oh, he really is. Like, even like when they show, you can tell he changes his art.
For the when he did the flashbacks, there was
yeah. Well, based on the spirits and everything and how it all looks, I love it. I love the art.
Oh yeah, there were no words that fell, no eyes that pierced his skull, not even a scent on the air that surrounded Scrooge from this final, terrible phantom. For that, and for that alone, Scrooge was grateful. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. No, your brother named you thusly different. The spirit of Christmases that will never come. You are but to show me shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in this time before us. By all counts, things I play some role in creating. Is that so, spirit? I'm just imagining the music, Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I've seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I have hoped to live to be another man from what I was, I accompany you. Will you not speak to me? Will you not speak? Lead on, then, spirit. Lead on. This, spirit, this is the place you bring me? Into my very home? And a home unkempt for many a year, by the looks of it. Have I moved on? It seems by mind's eye that everyone has moved on. And old Joe is certainly doing his best, all things considered. Wouldn't you say, Mr. Sands? Mr. Jeffers, I would say we are all doing our best. Those men in my house? We must try as we might, given what little riches left was what we have to work. Indeed, a proper point. And that it then? That it then? I'm afraid so, Mrs. Dilber. Very well, that will have to be enough. Who's the worse for the loss of these? Not the dead, that's for sure. I could only hope the others have fared well, or at least gone with little pay. I believe it was fortune indeed that smiled upon all this time for one man to hoard so much in a lifetime. For us to stave off the end of our own days, I suppose one could call us fortune. Spirit, if these men are in my house, in whose home do I reside? Certainly not this one. This is all Bob Cratchit's house. Father, your fellow spirits foretold of this. Poor Tiny Tim, he lives yet, but what of the rest of his family? Father, why can't God bless me, Father? Why he won't bless us, Father? Anyone? No. My boy, I would bless you if it were my power. All of you, my family. No! Oh, he took a child and set him in the midst of them. How, spirit? How could any man allow such horrors as this to transpire? And if you and your kind cannot stop such deeds, then what kind of man stands a chance? He comes. Whatever Scrooge had prepared himself to see, it is with great certainty I can tell you that this was not in his imagination. The hungry dead, the surplus population, had become the entire population. No gopher could feed them. No fire warm them. They were beyond such things, to the point where they had become the unliving embodiments of want and ignorance. was a craving they could not understand. On a single mind now, with no one to stand and scream halt, though as they converged upon a single grave, one man could think only of that word. Halt! Please God, halt this! But no matter the amount of screaming, Scrooge could not stop what was to come. Spirit, I beg of you, take me home. I have learned the lesson you seek to teach. I am your attentive student, but this cannot be. My house empty. Nowhere in this future have I seen myself. I dare not look upon to find whose and who is this figure rising. I hunger. This man cannot, nay, must not be me. I am not the man I was. I will be the man I must have been. But for the lesson of this, and for the lesson of this night, are these the shadow the things that will be, or are they the things that may be only? Why show me this if I am past all hope? My little friend, come to take me from this, please. That is not to be, is it, Spirit? She was my hope at one time. Yet I missed her. Nay, worse, I missed my moment to spare her. She was the only source of light of my dark life, the only joy. And I poisoned her. My fears and lies spread like the black plague from me to Fran, to Dick, to Belle, and even Tiny Tim. I am that man in the grave, and have been for quite many years. This is the secret which festers my heart. And that a simple bite from a creature I tried to save as a youth so hardened my resolve to believe no man can ever help his fellows, that he can only starve them of love, affection, wealth, comfort. That man can only kill. Okay, so here's what it is. The moment that horse bit him for trying to help it, sealed off his desire. Like he felt like, what good is it if you're going to be bitten back? And thus it caused a darkness in him. And then thus he just cut himself off from any good light of helping others. And he relied on his sister, Fran, for that light. But when she died, he felt, as he told the spirit of Christmas present earlier, that light is gone with her. And thus, because of that, he continued spreading his fear, the want and ignorance that started from that fear long ago into everyone. And that became the hunger, because there was no more light to shine on, only his spreading of an infection to everyone. That is the zombie curse.
It's like definitely a lot deeper than I thought it would be, but I knew it had something to do with the bite.
But it's so different. It's like everyone he tainted with his. It wasn't so much just the cuts.
Right.
It was his fear. It was the disease within his very soul from that night when he got from that day when he was bitten.
Now I fear rabies too.
Right.
It just feels like a rabies story.
Yeah, it does.
But again, it wasn't even so much the bite. It was everything in his soul. His soul could have purified it if he had just embraced everything and just acknowledged it instead of let the fear consume him.
Yeah, he embraced the darkness instead.
I mean, if I shut the world off every time I was bitten by somebody I've helped, I mean,
yeah.
like
there'd be no light.
Exactly.
Your nature and those of your predecessors interceded for me, and pity me. Assure me that I may yet change these shadows by an altered life and spirit. In so doing, I may save lives. The course of a man's life foreshadows certain end. True, but if a man departs his course, the ends will change. Say it is thus with me, spirit. Hear me and say it is thus. Hear me, damn spirit. Speak it. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. I must, or all will die. That indicates it was himself.
Right.
That was the spirit.
Yeah.
I love that altar making that clear.
All right.
Well, that's
in case there was any doubt or question.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yep.
That's what I mean.
I love and there's some good
Interpretation
commentary
of
here.
Christmas Carol leads you to these things, and that's why it's such a great thing to be able to recreate. And they did it where it's not word for word, line for line. Like I think the
The
second
heart.
book it started picking up more, but the first was like a little
Sure, but you need to set the stage.
Yeah.
You need to set the world.
I mean, but just like a Superman origin story, we've seen it before.
Yeah, but again, I like the use of some details.
Right. I do too. I'm nitpicky with my Christmas Carol adaptations.
There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. And the window where I saw the poor, wandering, hungry souls. It's all true. It all happened. The curtains are here. Everything is as I left it. I am home. 'Twould and stand to reason. The shadows of the things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will. And no bright, jovial stirring, no piping to dance, no bells to announce the day. The sun itself, which should be golden by now, hung over the day as a deep red wound. In the place of Christmas were sights of the hungry death victims, prowling through the fog, as they had when Jacob Marley last stood beside his friend. The spirits of all three shall strive at me. I swear it on my knees, Jacob Marley, on my knees. I know what I am to do. I don't know what to do. The spirits have done it all in one night. Oh, Scrooge has but the day. I shaved him, guy like, it's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. Mr. Chappers and Mr. Sands, a Merry Christmas to you both. Mr. Scrooge, yes, that is my name, and I fear it might not be pleasant to you, nor will what I am about to ask of you. But I beg of you, listen to both requests if you will do me that goodness. My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious? Lord bless me, I don't know what to say to such. Don't say anything, please. Come and see me at the appointed time and place. Yes, of course, though we may not live to see it. You shall live, kind sirs, and be well for it.
He's dressed like how I imagine a Dracula to be dressed.
Who would be coming around of all of this? Oh, forgive my interruption, madam. Mr. Scrooge, do you have the slightest idea of the danger you have put us in by merely opening the door? Please, dear, let him in. Forgive my wife, Mr. Scrooge. You see, it is our son, Tiny Tim. Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge. My dear boy, this old man would do all he can to make it so. Mrs. Cratchit, if you would kindly gather your children and their coats. Bob, please help me lift this poor and this brave young man up. We must bring him to a place where he may find help and comfort. Go inside. Outside. Are you mad? Yes, I am, dear lady. Mad with the spirit of Christmas and the miracle that awaits us this day. Are you sure this is the place where my fine son will find rest? Rest and much more, my friend. Merry Christmas. Please enter, my most welcome guest, and bless my soul. Who is this at my door? It is your Uncle Scrooge. Will you forgive me, Fred? There was never anything to forgive. Then let us make your dear mother proud. And come out, and my friends, and show these people what has been missing for far too long. What love and compassion can do when spread among your fellow man. And here's the other big difference. Fred clearly wasn't enough in that future because he just kept it to his house. He didn't have the means to spread it. Hence why it needed Scrooge to carry the light.
Well, yeah, and Fred is like...
He's only one man.
He is the light, though. Like, it can't be just one or the other. It needs to be both.
You needed both their lights to do it. Scrooge and both their lights to do this. And Scrooge the means to spread it far and wide.
Because he's been oppressing for so long, too. That you can't just do it. You can't just be the nephew. It has to be the oppressor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that makes it clear Scrooge's taint, the hunger from him, would eventually overpower even Fred. That's why I think they didn't show us. They didn't need to show us. It was quite clear. If it got that bad, Fred wasn't enough.
Yeah. Right.
Like, Mr. Scrooge, you promised a dance if I walk, and a dance you shall have, my wonderful, precious lad. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. I am as light as a feather and happy as an angel. And hello here, just as I asked. Whoop, hello. Come on then. Wait, what say we dance together? All right, and dance they did, spreading joy, wealth, and food to the hungry dread around them as they marched. Their dance brought forth all the hungry dead, freed by Mr. Jaffers and Sons on Scrooge's orders. The goodwill that poured forth from Scrooge's hand and the very light that grew in his warming heart seemed to abate the hunger that had plagued these poor souls following him. The miracle of the Christmas spirit that was beginning to spread, with Scrooge as its center. By the time they had reached their destination, those who were nearest Scrooge had become enraptured by his Christmas joy, forgetting momentarily the danger that surrounds them. The earth, however, remained unimpressed, as though it knew a long sought and sought after resident had finally come home. Enough! A Merry Christmas to everybody, and a Happy New Year to all the world! Those words have scarcely passed my lips, and certainly not in a good many years. That is my own shade, as is the miserly way I have treated all of you. My fear, my secrets, and my hatred have brought us all to this place. I have been shown the error of these ways, given one last divine chance to correct this path, and I swore I would not squander such a gift. It is my failings that have brought such ignorance and want upon you, a disease that leaves the soul hungry for more than this life can possibly offer. This hungry death has robbed you of both life and the grave. I know this. I am truly sorry. In my pledge to keep the spirit of Christmas, past, present, and future, in my heart, I swear this unto you all. You will hunger no more! Uncle, it worked! The sickness is abating these poor souls. It is my hope that we have saved more than we have lost. Ebenezer? Ebenezer! Belle, you were saved! Yes, Ebenezer, saved by you. You are another man once more. The man I love. My beautiful Belle, don't leave me. Not again. So basically, my guess is, if they had the disease longer, they're not going to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
Scrooge was better than his word. In rekindling the light within him, embracing his family and the love they brought him even beyond the grave, and spreading the Christmas spirit, he gave new hope and life to those whose lives were recently changed by the hungry death. And to the long suffering, he gave them the final rest they craved for so many years. He did it all and infinitely more. My friends, and the day turns to night. We have seen many happy reunions and bid farewell to loved ones. This Christmas Day lives still for a few more hours. I would be humbled and honored if you would join me in a celebration, the likes of which you have never seen. The first of many, I pray. And it was a Christmas Day that was never forgotten, on a day which changed the course of history. So no one save Scrooge knew of any alternative. Ebenezer Scrooge became known to be as good a man as any good old city, town, or borough knew in the good old world. So, and some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. It is said that a good heart can give the joy, but a good sacrifice is eternal. With that knowledge, Scrooge began to make peace with his fate, assured that this was indeed the first of many Christmases for these fine new friends. And thank you, Mr. Scrooge. It is a Christmas I hope to remember always. It is only the beginning for you, my good lad, but not for Scrooge. You saved my boy. For that I am forever in your debt. Bah! Speak not of debts, Bob Cratchit. Your struggling family shall want for nothing from this day forward. You have saved me in more ways than you will ever know, thankfully. Now help an old man to his bed. You look weary, Uncle. Shall I send the rest home? No. Let them enjoy this day year-round, if it so pleases them. My kind can last but only a day. Fred, please see to my affairs. ensure the men. Oh, look, and there's Marley properly in this vision.
Right.
Ensure the men who run the hospitals and workhouses have all they need. Bob, you shall have this house and all that comes with it. May it bring you joy for your beautiful family. And Tiny Tim, may your voice always sing and your laugh be carried on the wind, reminding all what it is to have the spirit and innocence of youth. Oh, Jacob Marley, thank you. Now, if you will excuse me, I have a very dear friend I'd like to see. From that day forward, it was always said of him that Ebenezer Scrooge knew how to keep Christmas well. May that truly be said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
Aww. I really like that one.
So,
the art was really cool for this one.
And how was just the story? Like I said, the changes did not alter the story. I won't say it improved it, but it definitely told an interesting interpretation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think some interpretations botch it.
I like that it was a little different.
Exactly. Like, I don't want it to be the exact same.
So often, you just do the same story, but it's always a good story. I mean, I've
seen some bad ones. Like there was one with a female Scrooge where she ran a mall and something that I think was a Hallmark movie, and it was bad.
Yeah,
Hallmark loves to do the Christmas Carol, but they don't change really much.
Yeah.
Like even if a woman, it's like it's so by the book.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to double check. Ebby was what it was.
That's stupid.
Of course.
The name is stupid. I hate Ebby. I hate everything about Ebby.
Yeah, that's the name of it. Ebby Scrooge.
That's stupid. I hate it.
There's a Christmas Carol wiki for all the different versions.
The Carrie version's my favorite.
Oh, I like the Carrie. There's a lot of that in this.
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Is. Because it's he did a version that was very close to the book.
Yeah, but again, this was just a very good, clever telling overall. It's like Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Like I said, take what was there, but make it an interesting story out of it that exemplify the messages. Not dumb it down. In fact, here I think it's more complicated.
Yeah, just a little bit. But it's like they used it well. It wasn't like it was just a zombie story.
No,
it was more about like his soul and the darkness versus the light.
It all it basically did was it took how Scrooge affected the people and give it a more physical, emphasis.
Right.
Because it was always there. The way the people were.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody around him was miserable because he was
look how the future would end up. It's basically making it clear, even if people were happy, the fact that the very next Christmas, it's a desolate wasteland. You could put the apocalypse in here too if you needed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because for it to change all in 1 year tells you that the world was doomed.
Yes.
Yeah.
All based.
I don't think anyone ever looks at it that way.
No. I mean, like nothing is there after. If it wasn't for him changing his ways, there would literally be nothing left.
Exactly. So it took that and gave a more physical attribute to it.
Definitely.
And
I liked it. I did.
Yeah, I would definitely say this is one. Definitely, if I had to do a list of favorite Christmas carols, this would be in the top 15, maybe 10.
Yeah, I would put this up there. I know that most people's very favorite is Muppets, and
I love Muppets.
That's not where I go with my favorite ever.
Well, I understand. There's plenty of others. You have the George C. Scott version. You have the Albert Finney. You have Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
No, you even have the musical version with Frasier.
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
The Jim Carrey one, as you said.
Yeah, that's probably.
Actually, you know what? My first one was Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's a lot of people. That's actually a good one. I would.
The fact that they crammed so much into 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, no, that one to me would be above Muppets.
Yep.
I don't know why.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't love those people. Why yours, Ebenezer? The richest man in the cemetery. But this would definitely be in the upper echelon because of how well it told the story as something fresh.
Yeah, I think the art held it the most.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I also realized it's also like the better zombie stories where there's a message. The zombies are just there to carry the message, not be the whole focus.
They're not actually zombies.
Exactly.
They're just people with hope taken out, and that just resonates with everyone.
Endless hunger.
Right.
The point where they would eat their own.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, it's all, for lack of a better term, they're zombies, but they're so given in by the hunger, they want, and ignorance.
Yeah.
Which I like that, having want and ignorance actually be the main, technically the villains.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you let them take over.
It is a good little twist to it.
Yeah. But that's all for everything. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas. And we'll see you all on the next one.
Merry Christmas.
Yay.
Take care.